Good evening, folks. How's everybody doing? I'm going to try something different. We're going to explore X. I don't know if people spend any time on Twitter. It's now called X, but I don't spend a lot of time on there. I find it gets me down. Like, it's wide open, man. It's nuts on X. Like, the amount of crazy content that's on there, but they do cover Canadian federal politics, and we're going to take a look at that. So we're going to get into this. Let's roll the intro. Let's go. Welcome, everybody. My name's Aaron, Canadian Looney. Like, share, subscribe. We cover the question periods. That's where we start. And we make other videos, shorts as well, about Canadian federal politics. If you're interested in learning why we need change so desperately, watch this channel and it won't take long to figure it out. Let's roll the intro. In Canadian federal politics, the Canucks are represented by two separate yet unequal groups: the globalists who sold out and the opposition trying to salvage a country. These are their stories. All right, so we're over here now. We're going to flip through X. We're starting off with a kind of a quiet one. I thought it was a joke when I saw that it was Don Davies. I thought it would be fun to make fun of the NDP. He might have a very valid point here. Let's take a listen.
The honourable member for Vancouver Kingsway.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Standing Order 158 speaks to the conduct of visitors to our galleries. I received a notice during question period that Air Canada flight attendants who were in the gallery, they were wearing their red T-shirts that said "Unpaid work doesn't fly." They advised that they sent a picture of their shirt to the Sergeant-at-Arms or whoever controls admission to the gallery and received explicit permission to be in the gallery with those shirts. 20 minutes into question period, they were asked to leave, and they were advised that some member on the government side expressed that they were uncomfortable with that T-shirt. And I'm just wondering if you could rule on that and ask if members of the government are allowed to kick out Canadians who are watching the People's Business in their House of Commons because they're wearing T-shirts that have been approved for wearing by the House of Commons.
I was not aware of the honourable member for Vancouver Kingsway.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Standing Order 158.
So that's interesting enough. Down here, let's see what's going on here. That's kind of quiet. Let's see what Donald Trump is doing. I guess he's going to take out a report.
President Trump that a president in office should be engaged in so much business activity.
Well, I'm really not. My kids are running the business. I'm here. You know what the activity, where are you from?
I'm from the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, Paul Cornyn's program.
Well, the Australians, you're hurting Australia, right? In my opinion, you are hurting Australia very much right now. And they want to get along with me. You know, your leader is coming over to see me very soon. I'm going to tell him about you. You set a very bad tone.
Well,
go ahead, John.
When the UAE
you can set a nicer
tone. When the UAE does a deal, what does it want in return?
Quiet.
Mr. President, what are you hearing about the operation?
That is appropriate, President Trump. That
Let's see. We got some Ben Mulrooney here. What's he talking about?
When you're talking life and death, you really should move as quickly as possible. And on this show, we talk every single week of somebody losing their life in the city of Toronto, let alone across the country, because of the state of our justice system, our criminal justice system, how it seems like we prioritize the rights of the criminals over the rights of the taxpayer. And a lot of us are wondering, when are the Liberals going to fix the mess that, with all due respect, they had a big hand in creating? Here's Sean Fraser, our justice minister, talking about what he plans to do.
The subsequent pieces of legislation dealing with bail reform, stiffer sentencing for serious crimes, as well as intimate partner violence, protecting kids online and supporting victims through the criminal trial process will come later in the fall. The bail and sentencing piece likely in the month of October.
You know, October's only next month, but with each passing day, like I know by this time next week, we will be reporting on another story of a criminal out on bail who escalated his crimes and killed somebody. I know it's going to happen because I have eyes and ears and I'm 49 years old. And as sure as I'm sitting here with my hat on backwards, I will be reporting on that this time next week.
Little FPC's got something to say. What are they telling us up here? Only in Canada can a foreign affairs minister send 16 tons of emergency PPE to Wuhan, China at the start of the pandemic while having $1.2 million in loans with CCP Bank, then be promoted to finance minister. Okay. Let's see what's
so happy to see that our Conservative colleagues are so eager to see the great budget we're going to present on the 4th of November. Mr. Speaker, this is good news for Canadians indeed. It's going to be a generational investment in the future of this nation, Mr. Speaker. We're going to build our country. We're going to protect our communities. We're going to empower Canadians. We're going to build the strongest economy in the G7. We're going to build like never before. We're going to build the Canada of the 21st century because you know what, Mr. Speaker? We're the true north, strong and free. So happy to see that our Conservative colleagues are so eager to see the great budget we're going to present on the 4th of November. Mr. Speaker, this is good news for Canadians indeed. It's going to be a generational investment in the future of this nation, Mr. Speaker. We're going to build our country. We're going to protect our communities. We're going to empower Canadians. We're going to build the strongest economy in the G7. We're going to build like never before. We're going to build the Canada of the 21st century because you know what, Mr. Speaker? We're the true north, strong and free. So happy.
So let's get down here. It looks like this is coming from a crazy left-winger. Watch, Mr. Speaker, while the Conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre, was spending his summer trying to get his job back, we crisscrossed the country getting feedback from Canadians with respect to what they want to see in the budget. Wayne Long, he's a little rooster.
Hungry, Liberal. Well, Mr. Speaker, that minister should go to a food bank and tell Canadians lining up there just how good they have it. Well, he pats himself on the back. Food bank workers on the front lines are calling the situation horrific. 1 in 4 households are struggling to afford food. Parents are skipping meals so their kids can eat. And while families go hungry, Liberal spending keeps driving grocery prices even higher. Will this Liberal government keep spending until every single table in this country is empty?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Financial Institutions.
Mr. Speaker, while the Conservative leader was spending the summer trying to get his job back, we crisscrossed the country getting feedback from Canadians with respect to what they want to see in this budget.
That's great.
Their message was resoundingly clear. They want us to spend less on government operations and invest more in our economy, in national projects, in nation building. Mr. Speaker, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to build the strongest economy in the G7.
We will. Yes.
Well, member for Fort.
All right, so that's Wayne Long. He's no good. He's trash. Here we've got Dominique LeBlanc's happy hour somewhere.
The House of Commons is back in session this week. Since 2000, I've had the honor of representing the people of Beauséjour in Canada's Parliament, and that will obviously continue to be an important focus for me. This past summer, Canada's new government has been busy delivering on our commitments. We got rid of internal trade barriers. We worked towards establishing a new trading and security relationship with the United States, and we moved forward on major projects across the country. Now, as we look ahead to a busy fall, we're going to be focused on getting big projects built, diversifying our trading relationships, making housing more affordable for Canadians, and helping with the cost of living. Together, we're going to build Canada strong.
I doubt it. All All right, what's next? Oh, look, we've got Kyle Seebeck. Conservative MP Kyle Seebeck went straight to the jugular, hammering the Liberals' housing record. He reminded Canadians that Mark Carney promised to double housing starts. Instead, they're down 16%. Then came the kill shot, $13 billion for 4,000 homes. Do the math on that, $3.2 million per home. What's Kyle Seebeck going to say?
The Prime Minister promised he would double housing starts. He looked at Canadians in the face and promised. They're down 16%. His plan is a $13 billion bureaucracy that might someday build 4,000 homes. 4,000 homes. Canada had 245,000 new home starts last year. Even if they hit 4,000 homes, it's 1.6% increase.
Speaker, I know the math is difficult for the Conservatives, but
can you help them?
We can help you. We can help you with this. We're looking at investing $13 billion in affordable housing across the country. Mr. Speaker, those initial 4,000 homes will be on Canada lands in 6 cities across the country.
$13 billion for 4,000 homes is 3.2.
So what's up next? Garnet Ginu, who's one of my favorites to watch on here. Sorry, Canada, he's just not that into you. Oh, this is actually posted by Garnet. So,
Speaker, this Liberal Prime Minister promised change. Like Liberals before him, he's breaking his promises. He promised the fastest growing economy in the G7. He's actually delivered the fastest shrinking economy in the G7. He promised build, baby, build. But he continues to support Bill C-69, the Block Baby Block Act. He promised to double the pace of construction, but home building is actually declining. He promised jobs and opportunity and then delivered an unemployment crisis. He promised less spending, but he's spending more. He promised elbows up, and then he put his elbows down. This Prime Minister said the things he thought Canadians wanted to hear during the election, and then he did the opposite. During his time as a temporary foreign worker in the United Kingdom, the Prime Minister was famously called the unreliable boyfriend. 6 months into this relationship, Canadians are starting to see why. Canada, it turns out, he's just not that into you.
The honourable member for...
Okay, that's pretty good. Garnet's always sharp. He's funny, too. Let's see. Michael Cooper, bombshell. Oh, this is posted by Michael Cooper. This will be great. Information Commissioner reveals the Liberal government has repeatedly and illegally defied access to information orders. The commissioner had to go to court 8 times to force the Liberals to follow the law. Sounds just about right. Let's see how Michael...
Commissioner, to be clear, your orders are legally binding, correct? They are. Now, you had indicated, and your report outlines... Commissioner, to be clear, your orders are legally binding, correct?
On the keyboard.
Now, you had indicated, and your report outlines that non-compliance on the part of government departments and institutions has been an issue. Now, you indicated in answer to Mr. Barrett that your office has been forced to bring not 1, not 2, but 8 applications for writs of mandamus to force non-compliant law-breaking departments and institutions to abide by the law. Now, going to federal court is costly, it's resource intensive, is it not?
It is.
And so can you provide a number, a figure, or provide some description of the degree in terms of, from a resource standpoint, your office has incurred in order to effectively drag government departments and institutions kicking and screaming to comply with your lawful order?
Well, currently the Act doesn't make me monitor these decisions and these orders. But if somebody complains to my office that the order was missed, the only recourse that I have currently is to make an application for mandamus, which we've done. We have increased our number of litigators in terms of cost. It's salaries, and time for us.
Oh, what's next? Oh, we got some Jamil Javani in the house. What's he up to? Immigration policies. Let's see what Jamil has to say.
On Monday of last week, my dear mother, love you, Mom, by the way, my dear mother went into the hospital for a hip replacement surgery. And like has become the norm across Canada, she had to wait far too long for her surgery date. In fact, by the time she went in to get her surgery done, the surgeon had said the damage to her hip had reached the point of 10 out of 10. That means that my dear mother was dealing with a lot of pain for a long period of time while waiting for the chance to have a surgery that everybody in the healthcare system acknowledged she needed much more urgently than it was provided. But the state of our healthcare system becomes even more clear with the experience we had in the hospital itself. Now, the morning of the hospital, everything went smooth. I was with my mom, the surgeon was awesome, the nurses were awesome, they took great care of her, and we are very thankful for the excellent work that they did. We are also very grateful to be in a country where you don't have to go into debt in order to see a doctor. Very good experience in the morning. I was with my mom in the afternoon and in the evening. Around 10 p.m., I decided that I was going to go home and get some sleep. So I hit the 401, I'm driving east on my way back home, and I get a phone call from my mom, frantic and upset. Now, my mother, Madam Speaker, is a very calm, cool, and collected lady. She does not get upset easily, but she was freaking out, all right? And she was freaking out because she awoke from her rest while recovering from surgery to the sounds of hospital staff moving a male patient into her room. Now, I appreciate that some people in this house might not see that as a big deal, but a lot of people across Canada do. You know, when you are recovering from a surgery and you're in a hospital gown, you're in a physically vulnerable state, you can barely move, the idea that a hospital would move a dude into my mom's room in the middle of the night with no notice, no acknowledgement, don't even recognize, this is kind of a bizarre and weird action to take to begin with, it made my mom quite unhappy. And the male patient who was moved into the room was also very uncomfortable with the situation. The only thing dividing them being a thin curtain pulled between hospital beds. And so naturally, when my mom is upset, it's like the bat signal going up, right? I get off the highway, get back, head westward, and I'm back at the hospital. And I go and I speak to the supervising nurse. And after some persistence, I think, Madam Speaker, you know me well enough to know what my persistence might look like. They did move my mom to a new hospital room with a female patient. But I asked the supervising nurse, what is the hospital policy that allows you to have a male patient and a female patient forced to share a room without their consent? And so they printed it off and they handed it to me, and I looked at it, and it was a policy that said, due to overcrowding and under-resourced hospitals, the hospitals in Toronto had taken the decision that they were going to have to give themselves that power. Now, I'm not of the belief that that makes it a good choice for them. I don't like the policy, but you could see very practically what population growth has done to our hospitals in that moment.
All right. Yeah, gang, so I won't be on the keyboard. It's too much to interact with. Like the way I normally do my shows, I can pull that off, no sweat. This is different. So we've got, Mark Nixon. I like this guy. Okay, let's see what he's got.
Colleague, for giving me the opportunity to share good news with this House, Mr. Speaker. In fact, the rate has gone down, Mr. Speaker, 2.5% today. The Bank of Canada just announced, Mr. Speaker. The Conservatives should celebrate. Consumers are celebrating, businesses are celebrating, Canada is celebrating, Mr. Speaker. One thing that it tells to all Canadians, our plan is working. We're going to build the strongest economy in the G7. The honourable member, colleague, for giving me.
What do we got next? Michael Barrett is up again with the information commissioner. So this will be great.
It is a criminal act if it's intentional.
You launched an investigation into ArriveCan over allegations related to the destruction of records that were subject to the Act. Is destroying or deleting records that are subject to access to information requests a breach of the Act? And do your preliminary findings suggest that the law was broken in this case?
With respect to ArriveCan, I'm sorry, but I won't be able to talk to you about the investigation. It's still ongoing. This is a very complex investigation, and as you just mentioned, including very serious allegations. So my office, it's part of it, our priority this year to finalize that investigation, and I will be happy to report on that investigation later this year. With respect to the allegation of destructions, it is a criminal act if it's intentional and if it's meant to remove the information from somebody's accessing it. So I cannot tell you at this point what our findings are with respect to a RefCan.
All right, what's up next? Oh, here we go. Scotiabank is holding money on people that seem to be innocent. Let's take a look to listen to this.
Scotiabank is holding my husband's $10,000 check hostage. My husband deposited a check from a company he worked for. Scotiabank put a hold on it, called it fraud, and are not releasing the funds back to us, and it has been over 30 days. They also have not released the money back to the original company, so they can direct deposit us to funds either. For the past 34 days, he's been calling daily. He's not given any answers. People are beating around the bush. And now today, Scotiabank has told him that they are closing his bank account. And still, no funds, no releasing of anything. He rightfully earned that $10,000 check, and they are holding it from him. Like, how would you guys feel? Like, has anybody else dealt with this in Canada? This is absolutely ridiculous. On top of that, we live in a very small, remote community. We have less than 400 people. The nearest bank, just any bank, is 3.5 hours away. So we don't have the option to just go to the bank and deal with this. It's so frustrating. We don't know what to do. If everyone can share this or even share your story, we're trying to get their attention and maybe hold Scotiabank accountable for the treatment of small businesses. We are not a huge company at all. We are a small northern, my husband and I, it's just our company, and we need help, and I don't know what else to do. So if you guys could share this and get the word out there, that would be really appreciated.
Okay, we got Gregor up here. What's he going to be lying about? This guy is a sack. Oh, man.
Building a home in Canada is about to get a lot easier. Yeah, right. That's the promise of Build Canada Homes, a lean, mission-driven agency designed to tackle the housing crisis. Because of today's economic uncertainty and decades of not enough affordable housing being built, Canada's new government is taking action. Through Build Canada Homes, we're going to unlock public land, finance new projects, and mobilize builders to nearly double the pace of construction in Canada. And we're going to do that with Canadian materials, Canadian workers, and Canadian technology. It's time to build. Building a home in Canada.
All of it. It's tough. Oh, Michelle Ferrari. This will be an easy watch.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I just shot a great video, too, actually, with this guy, Stephen LeDrew. Now, I got to tell you something, because I think his story is really important. You were president of the Liberal Party of Canada.
That's true, for 5 years.
You were
no salary.
Journalist. You have worked extensively with the Liberal Party.
Oh, wait a second. No, journalists would say I'm not a journalist because I'm a lawyer. Practiced law for years and years.
You were a broadcaster.
Yes, that's true.
Okay. So, you are very critical of the Liberal Party.
Yes.
Why?
Because it's no longer the Liberal Party. It's closer to the NDP party or even the Socialist Party. And the Liberal Party that I grew up with, that I led, was democratic, and it was capitalistic. It had a conscience, but it believed in good government, effective government that's not big and not in people's faces all the time and not trying to control everybody. Justin Trudeau debunked the Liberal Party, and what's left of the Liberal Party is powerless over politicians. It used to have an influence on Martin, on Trudeau's father, on the other prime ministers. But the Liberal Party now is completely gutted and doesn't stand for anything except for the remnants of Trudeau's socialistic views where people just do what the government says.
Okay, so 2 more questions, because I know you got an interview coming out here. As a former broadcaster and current broadcaster for independent news, how much of a role does government-subsidized media play in shaping people's minds, especially who are over 55, who only watch mainstream media, in thinking what they think?
I'll give you one example. That's in the last few days when the Prime Minister, before Parliament started, said, I've got these 5 projects, these 5 major projects that are going to kickstart the economy in Canada. And the mainstream news, big 5 new projects. Headlines in the Toronto Star, headlines here and there. And then people started to delve into it because of independent news, Michelle. And they realized these projects were already approved. They're already get going. Not always shoveling the ground, but this bureaucracy that Carney created to create more jobs is just that, another bureaucracy. And that the mainstream press didn't report that these were in fact bogus new projects.
He said it, not me. I already told you. I just say I told you so. But listen, okay, so where does Mark Carney fall if he just has all this wonderful economic experience and his resume is so impressive? How do you, as a former president of the Liberal Party,
yes,
give him his grade? How is Mark Carney doing?
I think that he is following in the footsteps of Justin. I'm told he starts meetings on time, and he is not irreverent like Justin was, but he really is doing nothing more than creating a bigger government, even than Justin had. And I think that Canadians need an election. We got fooled in the last election. They need a new one.
That's coming from the former, what did she say?
Okay, guys, I just shot
of the Liberals. Okay, watch this. This is Corey Hogan. He's a douchebag Liberal. Let's check him out.
Okay, let's talk about food inflation.
Talk shit.
It's come up a lot in the House in the past couple of days. The Conservatives have continued to say, the inflation of food in Canada is 70% above target, and talking about the problem with the cost of food. And yeah, it's a little dishonest. Look, I think that we can all agree food is too expensive. I think we can all agree that the basket of goods has gotten too much for the average person. We got to do stuff to deal with that. We got to raise wages and we got to bring prices down. But to suggest this is somehow a uniquely Canadian problem, I think, is what I want to tackle right now. So what you have here is a chart. This is a chart of food inflation across the OECD group of countries since 2015. This is a target the Conservatives themselves have used. They've talked about food inflation over the past 10 years. And what you'll see is that Canada's actually doing okay. Now, are we doing the best? No, we're not. We are definitely not. But are we doing the worst? Not even close. So when people ask me, well, why do you hate QP? What's the problem with QP? I think this chart might be my new Exhibit 1. They know the answer to this. They know the nature of the problem. They're not interested in the nature of the problem. They're interested in political wins and framing things in ways that makes it seem like there is an out-of-control problem that you can tie to one specific government.
Corey Hogan, that's his name, right? Yeah, he's a piece of shit. Go on X and tell him so. Brian Lilly, this will be fun. He's probably going to make Sean Fraser look as stupid as he makes himself look. What's it saying here? If you want to fix bail, you have to do your homework. Okay, I've seen this clip. Let's go.
But when the honourable member poses a question about repealing Bill C-75, I would suggest it is a good idea to read it first. He does not seemingly understand that bill actually makes it harder for people who are charged with intimate partner violence to receive bail. Now, I am willing to work in good faith with members of any party to help strengthen the bail system, have harsher penalties for serious crimes, and most importantly, to keep Canada safe. The only question I have that remains is whether the Conservatives will join us in that effort. But when the honourable member...
So, bread is much more than $5 here. It's $8. Like, it's crazy. Oh, and this is another one of those left-wing loser channels. They're going to try to make Pierre look stupid or look bad. Prime Minister Mark Carney laughs at Pierre Poilievre's question. Then he looks forward to consult. Like, where in the hell did they get these people? Like, because if you watch this stuff as it went down in context, he was laughing, but it was a nervous laugh, like the way that you'd laugh if you were trapped in a cage with a bear. Like, anyways, let's see what kind of propaganda they're putting out there.
And the Prime Minister made the appointment of the Parliamentary Budget Officer temporary, so that he could hold a sword over his head and threaten him if he speaks the truth about the financial mess the Prime Minister has made. That's what you remember? You know, To a government that doesn't know how to count, there is nothing more terrifying than a man armed with a calculator. And this Prime Minister wants to silence the Parliamentary Budget Officer from telling the truth about the fiscal mess that he has created under his watch. So will he, Mr. Speaker, legalize math, make the Parliamentary Budget Officer's position permanent, and tell us how big the deficit is?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker.
With respect to consultations on making the Parliamentary Budget Officer's position permanent, I look forward to speaking to the Leader of the Opposition, le chef de bloc,
The Leader of the Bloc Québécois.
Of other parties in Parliament, so we have a consensus on that appointment. I welcome that opportunity. We will do it at this. Yes, because this is the new spirit, Mr. Speaker, the new spirit of collaboration that has been put forward by the minister.
The honourable member for Ballet-Chambly.
All right, on to the next. What do we have here? For anyone outraged about using 1 minute in the Canadian House of Commons to honor an American citizen? Yeah. I don't know if we can watch 6 minutes of Trudeau. Lord, no, we're skipping that. This is from Ryan Garrettson, who is somebody, if you're on X, follow this guy. He's amazing. See.
Start by acknowledging that we're here on the territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people who've been here from time immemorial. We are on their land, and we say to them, Miigwech. I don't know how to say I'm sorry in Algonquin, but I do know how to say thank you. And hi. My name is Elizabeth May, and leader of the Green Party of Canada. Have a seat.
Piece of trash.
Start by acknowledging.
Washed up and just needs to get lost. Bloc leader Blanchette signaled openness to discussions between an independent Quebec and Alberta, following reports that St. Pierre Plamondon's provincial sovereigntist party has reached out to Alberta leaders. Is that how Alberta's going to leave? They're going to team up with Quebec now? Give me a break. Canada's confederation is crumbling, and it's beautiful. Okay. Who is this? I don't understand why you would be celebrating.
Give a boost to the sovereignty movement.
Of course, if people in Quebec want to remain Quebecers, they will have to think faster and faster and stronger about the idea of having a country of their own, which will be friend with its neighbors. And not a bad timing, because I seem to understand that the numbers of the Parti québécois are not so bad.
Anglais. Monsieur Saint-Pierre Plamondon just had a successful visit to Alberta, where he built a number of bridges with independence leaders in Alberta. Are you planning in the near future to travel to Alberta yourself or meet with leaders of Alberta's independence movement?
I had thought about it, but I understand that since Paul did it, it is not necessary for me to do that trip. But I'm very open to this idea. We have to start all independentist voices and leaders to explain who we are, what we want, the way we would do it, and what it would be the morning after. We have to do that. This is what I do when I go in Washington also, when I go in Paris or everywhere. And we have to do that in Canada also, because if it comes, we've got to make it smooth and best for everybody.
All right. Not a big fan of the Bloc Québécois. I like Quebec. It's a beautiful province and French people are great, but the Bloc Québécois is a pain in the neck. This is right from Mark Carney's site. Let's see what he's going to do to glorify himself. This guy is a sociopath, like a real sicko. It's only
looking forward with the Minister of Finance to releasing the budget on the 4th of November. That budget will contain the biggest investment in this country's future in a generation. Building homes, building new port infrastructure, new trade corridors, new energy infrastructure, building the strongest economy in the G7.
Well
done. Looking forward with the Minister of Finance.
He's purposefully sabotaging our company saying that he's going to improve it, but he's not. He's here to ruin it, to line his and Brookfield's pockets and strengthen this. You guys know, I know the people that follow or watch my stuff know what's going on, like on their own. They don't learn it here. They learn, though. Anyways, Michael Barrett, what's up? He'll explain it for us.
I want to offer you a quick update about the Liberals' decision to put their consul general in New York City in a $9 million condo on Billionaires Row instead of keeping him in the luxury apartment that Canadians are already paying for. Well, they're paying for 2 apartments now, the Billionaire Row condo and the luxury apartment, because they can't sell the old one. They've just dropped the price by $2 million, blowing a $2 million hole in what they said was a deal too good to pass up. All the while, Canadians can't afford to put food on the table for themselves and their family, can't afford to get into the housing market, and their inflationary spending continues. We're going to keep holding them to account, call them out for the mistakes and the wrongdoings of their government, but we're also going to propose solutions. And in this case, a renovation would have been cheaper than the carrying costs for 2 luxury apartments. It's common sense, and that's what we're going to continue to give the government the opportunity to use to make the right decision instead of always getting caught doing the wrong thing and costing Canadians more.
All right, I'm a big Mike Barrett fan. Like, he's right up there. I'm not going to say I have a favorite, but there's about 10 of them that I really enjoy. He's definitely in the top 5. Who's up next? Karina Gould. This is just a picture. She's got her little alien baby saying goodbye to chubby little Chrystia Freeland, who's going to break her broom if he tries to fly across the Atlantic Ocean on it. She'll try it, though. What was she saying? Before I ever decided to run for office, I volunteered on a by-election in Toronto in 2013 for an accomplished journalist, yeah, right, who was running for the third party with big ideas for our country. Fast forward 12 years and we've ripped the whole country off. Karina Gould is trash. Oh, here's one. This is just a post that I thought that people might find interesting. Justin and Katie are hooking up. Gross. They're going to keep it private, though. Whatever. Okay, this is from Tamara Litch, who is also somebody to watch. She's telling the truth about Mark Carney. Mark Carney's self-promoting here.
Build Canada Homes will catalyze the creation of an entirely new Canadian housing industry that uses modern methods of construction to boost productivity sustainably and at scale. Canadians have given our new government a mandate to build a stronger Canada with lower costs, safer communities, and homes you can afford.
I'm done with that music because the music's a problem. So whatever Chrystia Freeland says.
But if the data is so rosy, if the rebound is so strong, and it really is, why don't we feel very good? Why are Canadians so worried? But if
she's the ticket. Okay, this is from Senator Denise Batters. I think she's the lead senator now in the Senate for the Conservatives. Mark Carney no longer has gender equal cabinet. Yeah, it's all women. Like, and they were all applauding like seals. Imagine if he got up and said, "Look, we've got the cabinet with the most men ever in it." How that would go over. He's a sexist. So Mark Carney no longer has gender equal cabinet. Carney split Chrystia Freeland's cabinet jobs between 2 men. Oh, that's what's going down. Nice. Yeah, 14 men, 13 women, whatever. I don't understand the point. Okay, this is a good one. We've all seen
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I know many things. I know many things. And one of the things I know, the member opposite, the leader of the opposition, just mentioned interest rates. One thing I know is that Canadian interest rates are much lower than American interest rates. They're lower because this country's fiscal situation is strong, because this government has a plan to grow this economy, and we will keep doing it. We'll keep it.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Speaker, the collapsing economy is bringing down interest rates, but the financial expert doesn't even know what his own deficit is. But another financial expert spoke yesterday. The Parliamentary budget officer said the deficit will absolutely be higher because of additional spending. He said he doesn't know what the government's fiscal anchors are because they do not exist. He says the labor market sucks and wages are not going up. These are quotes. Is this why Liberal members on the committee who heard those truth bombs threatened that the Prime Minister would fire the Parliamentary budget officer after 166 days?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
All right. He did get Carney worked up, man. On Monday, it was hysterical, right? Oh, you guys all probably saw this somewhere.
Here, this is the Conservative Justice team. We are here in our room, ready to start a Justice Committee meeting. But colleagues, we're the only ones in this room. We don't have our Liberal chair. We have no Liberal members. We have no Bloc member. We were here sent by Canadians to do a job. And that job is to fix a broken justice system. We're here, ready to work. I sent a letter to the chair yesterday asking for a meeting today because it is a regularly scheduled Justice Day. Crickets. Not even the courtesy of a response. Roman, what do you have to say about this?
It is Tuesday afternoon. Justice Committee is supposed to meet. We're here ready to work, and the Liberals are not here. We had another person shot dead in Toronto overnight. We desperately need bail and sentencing reform. We learned from the Toronto Police just this week that 1 out of 4 homicides involve a young offender. We desperately need to look at the Young Offenders Act because custodial sentences are limited to 4 years. And where are the Liberals? Liberals are refusing to cooperate with us, and they refuse to engage in any meaningful reform. This is unacceptable.
Amarjeet.
As Larry and Roman said, no one is here from the Liberal or Bloc to discuss. Today was the day already decided to have the Justice Committee meeting. We are here to discuss the concerns of the people. We all know that how important the bail reform is for this country. We have seen chaos every single day, shootings, murders. Every single city is getting impacted by this kind of crimes. And Liberals are not here, Bloc is not here. We are ready to work for them. Unfortunately, they are not here. And we definitely going to work in the interest of the people of Canada and the things that matter most to them to provide justice and bring the bail reform as soon as possible.
Andrew.
I don't know about you gentlemen, but I've had today's meeting on my calendar for more than 3 months. When we were first put on this committee, we were told Tuesdays and Thursdays, 3:30 p.m., that was when we were going to be meeting. And by the way, I should point out, on our first meeting, the Liberals adjourned it after 16 minutes. That was when they moved to adjourn, after 16 minutes, with the promise that we could discuss real justice issues in the fall. So here we are, ready to work. No Liberals here. No response to Larry to even have a meeting to discuss these issues. All from a government which right now is claiming it takes this seriously, which is claiming it's listening to the police and Canadians who have been crying out for action. So we're going to keep forging ahead, but this is quite a disgraceful way to start off the session, especially as a new member.
While the Liberal government continues to focus on the interest of criminals, we in the Justice Committee and the Conservative Party of Canada will fight for you, fight for safer communities and prioritizing the needs of victims. We're ready to work.
All right. Is there anybody out there that has noticed Andrew Lawton? I'm not sure. There's a lot of good ones. I like Aaron Gunn. I like Tamara Jansen. I like Tamara Corona. There's a bunch of new ones that are great, but Andrew Lawton cracks me up. So this is from Mr. Sunshine Baby. I've got a story about that in a moment.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Biggest deficit, maybe.
How big is the deficit that the Prime Minister is running?
There you go. There you go. This is the Pierre that people want to see.
Mr. Speaker, I'm looking forward with the Minister of Finance to releasing the budget on the 4th of November. That budget will contain the biggest investment in this country, in this country's future in a generation. Building homes, building new port infrastructure, new trade corridors, new energy infrastructure, building the strongest economy in the G7.
No. We're in so much debt.
Surely, if he was such an expert, he would know the size of his own deficit. It's now halfway through the fiscal year. 6 months have gone by, and he has announced $40 billion of additional spending. Deficits drive up inflation, grocery prices, housing costs, and interest rates. They drive out investment from our country and uncertainty that destabilizes our economy. That's why every other prime minister in Canadian history has announced the deficit at the beginning of the fiscal year. We're 6 months in. Does he even know the size of his own deficit?
He doesn't. He's just spending like crazy right now.
Mr. Speaker, I know many things. And one of the things I know, the member opposite, the leader of the opposition, just mentioned interest rates. One thing I know is that Canadian interest rates are much lower than American interest rates.
Oh my goodness.
Fiscal situation is strong because this government has a plan to grow this economy, and we will keep doing it.
There you go. It's always with the anti.
That's enough of that. Okay, this is a short one, but I'm a big fan of Ned Curran.
Folks, we have some breaking news. Christina Freeland is stepping down. She will be leaving the Liberal Party to take a position as special envoy to Ukraine. But the bigger question here is this a lack of confidence in her own government and Mark Carney?
She's going to the Ukraine to take our tax, like she's going to launder tax money from Canadians, or like money that the government borrows, which will be taxed on, and inflation, everything's connected. She's going over there to launder money and hook up Zelensky with blow. She's a trash doll. Here's Sean Fraser. Let's check out what this goofus is saying. He's pure. They're also bad.
Yeah, so maybe just for the sake of those who are listening at home, we expect to have potentially several pieces of legislation during this fall sitting. The first that we intend to introduce will make good on the campaign commitments that we've put forward with respect to obstruction, intimidation of those attending religious institutions or buildings. We intend to take it a step further to address hate more broadly in our communities. We do expect it's going to be a matter of days before this legislation is put forward. The subsequent pieces of legislation dealing with bail reform, stiffer sentencing for serious crimes, as well as intimate partner violence, protecting kids online, and supporting victims through the criminal trial process will come later in the fall. The bail and sentencing piece likely in the month of October, with the third piece potentially later. But there are ongoing conversations with House leadership just from a logistical point of view to figure out when the best time to table these. Yeah, so maybe just for the sake of those.
All right, so we'll get back to this in a moment. Sean Fraser is setting up a new bill to put through that is going to let the government decide what hate is. It's not a good idea. It's frustrating. Let's watch this.
Security. Now, there have been conversations with the companies, and clearly we wanted to make sure that there would be a net benefit to Canada. But I think right now that it's not enough. We need to think about short term, and also we need to think about longer term. And how can we make sure that ultimately we create jobs, but we have a strong headquarter, not only now, but also for the next decade.
You mean not enough, that it's not enough?
We think that we need to have further conversations with the companies, and that's why I will be meeting next week with the two CEOs of security.
What a twit. Sean Fraser Down goes Fraser.
But when the honourable member poses a question about repealing Bill C-75, I would suggest it is a good idea to read it first. He does not seemingly understand that bill actually makes it harder for people who are charged with intimate partner violence to receive bail. Now, I am willing to work in good faith with members of any party to help strengthen the bail system, have harsher penalties for serious crimes, and most importantly, to keep Canada safe. The only question I have that remains is whether the Conservatives will join us in that effort.
Sean Fraser's pure trash. Like, it is frustrating. I know you guys all know, like, everybody that's hanging out tonight, it's good to see everybody. And I just wanted to try this to see if I could come close to using X in live. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments what you think. Again, I just wanted to try this. Oh, here's one. I saw this the other day. Yikes. The government is covering this.
A pandemic is a global event, so you would expect that you would have similar number across provinces in Canada or the States or other country. When I look at the number you have compiled for Nova Scotia, by and large, that seems to be fairly low compared to what we've seen from other places.
I feel with media lines that they used across the country, I bet if you went to every province and did exactly what I did, you'd be quite surprised. I feel that it would expose the truth, that we've been bamboozled into thinking that something was really deadly, and it can be probable, and from a clinically compatible illness, I mean, to a coronavirus, like, and then people in long-term care, sadly, when they die, they do fill up with mucus, like to swab that, like, okay, you've got the symptoms of COVID, like, so 83 is the median age of somebody dying of COVID-19 in the province. The life expectancy in Nova Scotia is 80.
All right, gang. Here, what are we going to do? Let's flip back over
In
to
Canadian
here.
federal politics.
No, not that. Not that. All right, gang. Is how low is the mic? That's what it was, Rory. I just wasn't close enough to it. I don't need to turn it up. So I just wanted to try a couple of things on X. Now I'll say hello to everybody. Mr. Pickles, always a pleasure. Kirk, thanks for hanging out. Rory, my man, what's going on, brother? Keep your stick on the ice. Annie, how do you say that? Rijabo? Welcome. Colton, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. Alexander, how are things in California? Tigger, long time no see. Good to see you. It's awesome. Ken Flanders, what's up, brother? Cryptomeria, my lady, what's shaking? Got Don Boone, thanks for watching a second time today. Mary Atwell, always a pleasure. What else we got? Rayman, what's going on, beautiful mind? Good to see you. Yeah, sorry if I missed anybody, but that we'll skip on to the next. I've got one video that I'm going to show, then we're going to wrap it up. I just dropped on here tonight to record this and take a look at what it looks like. I'll watch this back in a little bit and see if there are corners I can cut or things I can improve. It's really hard when I am doing the X to be interactive on the keyboard. In my regular shows, it's not a problem. On X, I won't do this very often. I just was experimenting. The after hours stuff, I scanned it all. I watched all the committees and everything. There was nothing really worth putting out, I didn't feel, tonight that I saw. So, but we've got this one. And this happened in after hours, but it's only 10, 12 minutes long. And it was pretty interesting. It's a heartbreaker, man. Rachel Thomas gets all choked up. Anyhow, we're going to go out on this. Rachel will wrap it up for us, and that's it. Thank you all for tuning in. Again, just an experiment. I appreciate everybody stopping by to check it out. I've actually, what is the numbers on the poll? I don't think a lot of people tuned in, but I got a few votes. Okay, so like a lot of people don't watch X at all. Again, X doesn't really do it for me, man. The stuff that they try to show me that I don't want to see, like I don't want to see little baby animals that are trapped and shit like that. Like, I don't know why it shows me that, but, and there is a lot of great information on there, don't get me wrong, but it's really hard to filter through and find the things that you're there to watch. Like, I had a really bad head injury when I was a kid. I was in a coma for 13 days. I got punched and I dropped like a tree would fall. Like it was a sucker punch and the guy had a jackknife in his hand so his knuckles wouldn't. Anyways, 2 subdural hematomas where he punched me below my eye, which damaged my vision, and in the back of my head where it hit the concrete. And when I see all of the violence that's out there, these people getting knocked the fuck out, like, and they deserve it most of the time, but when you see someone's head bounce off concrete, all I know is that it took me years. I used to shake and twitch for years on the right side of my body because it was the left side of my brain that got messed up. Anyhow, here we go. Rachel Thomas. Dan, what's up? Aaron here, Canadian Looney. We're going to bring you an emotional one from the House of Commons with MP Rachel Thomas. Usually in the House of Commons, from my experience, the emotions are frustration and anger. This one is those, but it's also got a lot of sadness and worry in it. Rachel Thomas is a new mother. This cowgirl is an MP from Lethbridge, Alberta, as we said, and she is emotional on this one. I don't know what is going on in our country. I've got an idea. I just can't believe it's actually happening in real time. Let's take a look at Rachel Thomas. She's definitely one to watch and pay attention to. Let's take a look.
Hey, that's something everyone can enjoy.
To debate, the honourable member for Lethbridge.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Conservatives have always stood for the principle of security and the principle of freedom, and we've managed to do so simultaneously. These are the 2 pillars of a safe and prosperous society. Sadly, though, after a decade of Liberal governance, Canadians are living with less of both, less freedom and less security. The Liberals would like to move past their disastrous record on these topics, but Canadians are still paying the price and therefore very much paying attention and have some significant concerns. So today with Bill C2, the government is claiming yet again to, quote, secure Canada. They've said that this is the intent of the bill. I'd like to explore that a little bit because there's 2 problems that I see with this bill. I would say that it neither makes our communities safer nor does it protect our freedoms. I know. And it actually deepens the failures of this current government from the past decade. 2 things. It claims to enhance security, but it actually leaves glaring holes in our justice system untouched, therefore actually leaving a person feeling less secure than ever. And I'll expand on that. The second thing I'd like to discuss is the fact that it infringes on the fundamental freedoms of Canadians in ways that should alarm each and every one of us in this place. With regards to security of person and the justice system, let's be clear. Bill C2 is the Liberals' what I would say a half-hearted attempt to patch over the chaos that many of their policies have actually created. And sadly, Canadians have been paying for those mistakes with their lives, truly, not figuratively. We are told the border is secure, yet the CBSA has lost track of nearly 30,000 people with deportation orders. That's not security, that's negligence. In Falkland, BC, authorities uncovered the largest, most sophisticated drug super lab in Canadian history just in the last couple of years. And in the same province, the RCMP arrested individuals tied to a transnational organized crime group connected to Mexican drug cartels. This is the state of our country. And these aren't isolated incidents. They're the product of years of border mismanagement and reckless drug policy experiments that have been done, especially in the province of British Columbia, which this government not only stamped with approval, but then also funded. And that same failed experiment actually resulted in the death of more people due to drug overdose than what died during World War II. Let that sink in for a moment. More people died because of this government's failed drug experiment than the number of people that died in World War II. That's a big deal. So meanwhile, we also have to look at catch and release policies and what they've done, because they've sown great chaos across the country. My own riding of Lethbridge has one of the highest property and violent crime rates in Canada. And we're certainly not alone. It's something that's being experienced in communities from coast to coast. In Welland, Ontario, just a few weeks ago, a 3-year-old girl was violently sexually assaulted in her own bed. A little girl should be able to go to sleep at night with confidence that she is going to be kept safe, that she is going to wake up in the morning without her sleep being disrupted in any way. And unfortunately, because of our weak policies in this country, that 3-year-old woke up having been forever changed. And she now has to work through the scarring that has taken place, not only to her physical body, but to that little 3-year-old heart. That's because of the failed policies of this place. Folks, more can and should be done in order to make sure that a person is secure. Yes, sure, put more border patrol in place. But at the end of the day, there's so much more. There's so much more. In Kelowna, BC, Bailey McCourt, a 32-year-old mother of 2, was beaten by her ex with a hammer after he got released on $500 bail. That didn't have to happen. Folks, if our justice system was stronger, if it stood for victims and didn't side with criminals, these things would be prevented. These tragedies expose a massive weakness in our justice system, and it's one that desperately needs to be addressed. And this government has not only the opportunity, but I would dare say the responsibility. There's solutions, and I want to outline 2 of them. And we have dozens that we can offer, but these are 2. One would be bail reform. Cases like Bailey, the mother who was murdered by her ex, he should not have been allowed out on bail. It highlights a massive problem with our bail system and the fact that a criminal can be put in jail and then before the ink of the police report even dries, they're let out. That is what happened here, folks. And this man, a very dangerous offender, known to police, went out and took the life of his ex-wife, leaving 2 young children without a mom and a family grieving. We've put forward a bill called the Jail Not Bail Act, and it's calling for the repeal of Bill C-75, which forces judges to release offenders. C-75 forces judges to release offenders at the earliest opportunity and under the lightest conditions. That should not be the case in this country. And instead, under the bill that we're proposing, it would require judges to consider an accused's full criminal history, deny bail to repeat major offenders, and toughen risk assessments, which would do a lot of good for victims and innocent Canadians, and certainly would do a lot of good to put criminals where they belong. The other reform that we could bring forward is sentence reform. We have to confront the fact that our sentencing laws in this country are very, very broken. In Canada today, the maximum penalty for a 3rd robbery offense is higher than the penalty for a sexual offense. I'm going to say that again. Right now in this country, the maximum penalty for a 3rd robbery offense is actually more than for a sexual assault offense. So I want us to think about that for a moment. Property in this country, physical property, is actually given more weight, more value than the human dignity of a person. And most often this is women. It's women that are sexually assaulted. It's women that are put in that vulnerable place, that place of having to pull themselves together and heal from what was robbed. Their very dignity, their very being. It's also worth noting that our system allows for violent offenders to actually receive house arrest rather than be put in prison where they belong. How does that protect society? How does that protect those that are just trying to go to work and take their kids to sports and maybe a music lesson and live life in a safe, law-abiding manner? Why are we not standing up for those folks? Colleagues, we need tougher, more consistent sentencing that reflects the gravity of the crime committed. Canadians deserve this. So when we talk about the security of a person, these are the things that must come to the table. And under Bill C-2, none of this is considered. And in fact, in the number of months, in the 6 or 7 months that this government has now been in place under the new Prime Minister, these topics that I'm bringing up today have not even been addressed. They have not even been acknowledged. This summer, it felt like every other hour I was opening up my phone and reading an article with regards to a crime committed against another human being, another life lost, another person assaulted. Folks, it shouldn't be that way. And those in this House have the power, we have the power to make a difference. We have the power to change the laws of this country and to instruct our law enforcement agents and the courts to act differently. We have the ability to contend for victims, to protect those that are innocent, and to truly provide security of persons. So when we talk about C2, there's a whole lot missed there. Now, I said originally that I was going to talk about security of persons and I was going to talk about the violation of human freedom or liberty that is also exposed in this bill. Out of passion, I have run out of time, but I think I've hit my mark. Ultimately, it's the people that matter most. They're the ones that sent me here. They're the ones that I'm contending for, and I would ask that my colleagues do the same.
Questions and comments? Question et commentaire. The honourable member for Victoria.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and my thanks to the honourable member opposite for bringing attention and her passion to this very important and indeed deeply touching issue. I wish to bring to the member's attention, in case she is not yet aware, a petition that's been moved by the loved ones of Bailey McCourt from Kelowna, whom the member referenced. This tragic story, which occurred, of course, in British Columbia, my province, this summer, touched many of us and has rippled out widely across our communities. In that context, it is my great privilege to be the parliamentary sponsor for a petition that Bailey's loved ones have brought forward, calling for a number of revisions to the criminal code to address some of the shortcomings and gaps which may have contributed to her tragic loss of life at the hands of her former partner. Some of those proposed changes include requiring the disclosure of a criminal record to one's partner upon receiving a marriage license, and a variety of other measures that I trust the Attorney General and Justice will take up this session. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The member for Lethbridge.
Thank you, and thank you to the honourable member for taking those steps. I think, advocating for, in this case, your constituents' family, the loved ones that have been left behind, I think that's really admirable. I think it's the right thing to do, so well done. That said, I also believe that member stands on the side of government and therefore has the ability to urge change. And I hope that he's doing that. I hope with all his might he is urging Cabinet and especially the Prime Minister to look at this very seriously and to create changes both around bail and against the way that we do sentencing in this country, because those two things are very much needed in order to protect the innocent and make sure that future situations like what happened to Bailey do not happen again.
Question et commentaire, l'honorable député de Lac-Saint-Jean.
The honourable member for Lac-Saint-Jean. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to thank the member from Lethbridge for her impassioned speech. I think it's a topic that really hits home with her, and I congratulate her on her speech. Now, this bill will likely go to committee. In her opinion, will there be a lot of amendments? Will parties have to cooperate very closely in order to make sure this bill passes? Or if the Liberals won't accept any changes when it comes back to the House, if it comes back as it stands, in her opinion, would it be acceptable to vote for this bill as it currently stands? The honourable member for Lethbridge.
I would be curious about the honourable member's purpose of question. Nevertheless, when it comes to this bill, there are significant flaws. I've taken the time to outline some of those here today. But ultimately, it comes down to this. This bill fails to secure people the way that it promises to. It fails to contend for Canadians that deserve protection. Furthermore, this bill is a direct infringement on people's freedoms. So, for example, it will grant permission to Canada Post employees to open mail without a warrant. That's crazy. Furthermore, a peace officer will be able to access a person's data, again, without a warrant. That's crazy. We have warrants in place in order to make sure that people are protected from an overreach of government and authority.
Questions and comments? The Honourable Member for Kamloops Thompson Nicola, about 30 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's always a pleasure to rise on behalf of people from Kamloops Thompson Nicola. And I really thank my honourable colleague, and when she was talking about robbery versus sexual offences, this is actually something I brought up in Bill C-299 last time. And in fact, the member for Winnipeg North was in the chamber when I brought that bill forward, and I got heckled while bringing that bill forward. Now, my honourable colleague is so passionate about this, and I don't have a question. I want to commend her and thank her for standing up for the most vulnerable. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Lethbridge has about 20 seconds if she wants to respond.
Well,
The Honourable Member for London West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I believe that you cannot refer a member's presence in the House or not, so I would caution that the member does not say that again.
Order. We can leave it there. I appreciate the member's intervention. We cannot refer to the absence or presence of a member in the House. We'll leave it there. We don't need to go any further. The Honourable Member for Lethbridge, let's have a 20-second response.
Sure. Mr. Speaker, I can appreciate the comment made by my colleague. I appreciate the good work that he has done in order to advocate for victims and the protection of Canadians. He certainly has done a lot of good work in this regard. It's my great pleasure to join with him in continuing the good fight to contend for Canadians and their peace of mind and their security of persons.
Resuming debate.
Hey, that's something everyone can enjoy.
My name's... Yeah, so I wasn't meaning to be defensive, Aaron Cooper. All I know is that I work hard at this, and when I started, I didn't know what side I was on, whatever. It took about 3 days to figure out, that we were being lied to, and since then, I've just kept investigating. And again, I didn't know what I was doing when I started this channel. I still, I guess, don't, but yeah, I didn't mean to sound defensive, not at all, because all I know is that I spend a copious amount of time doing this, watching, and it gets frustrating. It leaves you very depressed very often because it's like, are we really gonna get completely screwed? I don't have kids, so I don't worry about that. But what I find daunting is that there are so many people that they just don't want to admit that they've been fooled. Because I've been fooled many times and I've made many mistakes in my life, and I will continue to make mistakes and whatever, try to learn from them and improve. I don't know, it's going to be hard to knock them down. You need some money to fight these guys. They control so much. They control not just the CBC, CTV, and Global, but all the radio stations, most of the newspapers. It's whacked out there. Anyhow, I was just coming on here tonight to give this a try with X, and I wanted to play that other video because I think it's important to see. And you tell me that Rachel Thomas isn't being sincere there. She's being very sincere. I mean, I was watching that when I was watching it, even this time, it puts a frog in my throat. It chokes me up. Anyhow, I appreciate everybody for hanging out, stopping in. We'll be back tomorrow with question period. And I know that there are liberal trolls and they're very easy to get frustrated with, but a lot of people just don't want to admit that they've been fooled. But if you can patiently speak to these people, and I know I've got to work on that myself because like nobody wants to be told you're wrong, you voted to, or you're stupid, whatever. They'll never listen to that. They'll just go like on their heels and try to resist what you're saying. It's a very confusing time. Like, again, my mom is a CBC woman and she watches CBC all the time. The other day, this is a true story that I'm going to tell it, but I was talking to her about like things that are going on. And then I mentioned just in passing, like one of the things that's happening in the world. And I mentioned in passing, Charlie Kirk. She's like, who, that racist guy? And I was like, what the fuck are they telling you on CBC? Because you only get that from CBC. That's what she deduces from watching CBC, is that Charlie Kirk's racist, which, you know, I know people that are watching this right now know that Charlie Kirk is not a racist. Oh, Lord. What a weird time. And it's not just here in Canada. It's going on. It's so bad in France, United Kingdom, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, Germany. Like, me and Mr. Pickles and I are moving to Poland. I think that's a good idea. They just won their election with a sensible government. Wish we had one. Maybe we'll have one. Maybe Pierre's going to break him down. I don't know, though. They've seemed to have a stranglehold. Anyhow, guys, Aaron, Canadian Looney, like, share, subscribe, share it with somebody. That's it. We'll catch you in tomorrow's show. Thank you all for watching. We're out for now. Are we going to play Romper Room Kirk here? Do I have that ready to go? Here's some...
You should do exercises. That's important to our good health. And friends,
we'll try that again. Try that again, Aaron. Get it right.
You should do exercises. That's important to our good health. And friends, tomorrow we are going to be visiting with a fisherman who will tell us about his very enjoyable hobby. Now, I would like to see you all through our magic mirror. Romper bumper, stomper boo, tell me do. Magic mirror, please tell me today, did all of my friends have fun at play? I see all of my friends in Alberta. It's nice to see you. And I see Dan and Vivian. I see Marlon and Mona. I see Catherine and Harley. I see Anne and Elizabeth and Jane. I see Bert and Nicole, and I see you too. I hope to see you tomorrow, right here in Romper Room.
Bing bong, knock knock, hey daddy do. Bing bong, tick tock, bebop boom.
Kick off your weekend with exciting CFL action when the Edmonton Eskimos tackle the BC Lions in Vancouver. Tomorrow night at 10:30 on CFTO TV.
Ding dong, knock knock, hey daddy do. Tip tap, pitter pat, gray cat too. Rooty toot, kimble, loopy loo. Bobbity stompity, romper room and friends.
All right, later, gang. It's been fun. Thanks for hanging out.